Hi, everybody.
Hey.
How's it going?
Happy Monday.
Hello. It is another Monday. And so it is another day for writing comics. Although, just a little discussion about format change. Samson and I were talking about possibly doing something a little bit different. Basically, once a month, doing kind of, instead of Ravensdale Writes Comics, doing just a geek out session. Where we talk about whatever is going on in pop culture. And right now there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I mean...
And we got lots of opinions.
Yeah, we have no shortage of opinions.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're considering doing something along those lines. So basically what we would do is we would do 3 Ravensdale Writes Comics, and then the last week of the month we would do a geek out where we talk about whatever topics are on our minds. Let us know if you're interested in something like that. We are, because we like talking about this stuff, and having a structured format in which to do that is kind of an interesting concept. But let us know what you think. Samson, what are you up to this week?
Not much. Just getting ready for WonderCon.
WonderCon.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
It's Friday.
My favorite convention of the year, if I'm being completely honest.
Mine too. Yeah, it is the best one.
Yeah.
Sorry, San Diego. I love you too, but...
Yeah, I never went to San Diego Comic-Con before it became San Diego Comic-Con. You always get those people who are like, well, I went to Comic-Con before it was really big. And, I'm sure that it was a great experience. But for me, WonderCon is probably as close as you're going to get to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's me.
It is what San Diego used to be, the best of what San Diego used to be. Because there was actually a lot of bad with the old con, too. I did love when it was smaller and you could just get in line and buy a ticket and all that was great.
Right.
But there was a lot of stuff that was wrong with it, for sure. There was porn actresses. And,
yeah, I heard there was a lot of adult material.
Yeah, and it was just kind of, having little kids and stuff, especially back then, it was kind of hard trying to blindly get them through an aisle without seeing anything.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, I don't hate it, but I do hate getting elbowed all day, I guess. That's really what my biggest grievance is. So.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of the crowds. So WonderCon's kind of perfect. It's just busy enough to give you that kind of energy and that vibe, that excitement, without being so big that you're like, I want to murder everybody.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely. And their aisles are bigger. There's less people and the aisles are bigger, which is amazing.
I think because they know it's not their moneymaker, because Comic-Con obviously brings in more money for them. Mm-hmm. Not to say that WonderCon's not profitable, it's just not, it's not their flagship. And so I think they can afford to be a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more open. Yeah. Just not cramming as many booths into the floor space.
Right.
Either that or Anaheim has slightly different zoning regulations or something. Who knows?
Well, they're amazing if that's the case.
Yeah.
I think honestly it has a lot to do with there's not a huge movie presence.
I can agree with that. It doesn't have the giant multimedia frenzy around it that San Diego Comic-Con does. Because I don't think I've ever seen any big panels for any of the movies, TV shows, or anything there.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly focused on comics, maybe cartoons, TV shows that are smaller.
Yeah.
So
I don't even remember any huge booths like San Diego where it's a city block booth. There's none of those that I can really remember.
There's got to be one, but I cannot think of what it is. But yeah, San Diego Comic-Con has some of those booths that are just enormous.
Got 3
and
stories.
They've got multiple levels. Yeah. Casher says, kind of like how Gen Con used to be. Yeah, that's definitely true. Gen Con, when I first went there, was it was the last year they were in Milwaukee, I believe.
Yeah.
And it was a fantastic experience. It was, again, it had that crowd level. It was, it gave you a lot of just energy and enthusiasm and everything like that. And the exhibit hall was awesome. I mean, you could spend all day there and kind of get lost and really enjoy it. But you didn't have to spend more than a day to see everything in the exhibit hall. Right. So it meant you had 3 other days over the weekend to go out and play games.
Yeah.
Whereas with San Diego Comic-Con, it's if you want to get the exhibit hall, the full exhibit hall experience, you need to dedicate 2 days to that exclusively.
Right.
And if you want to stand in line to get to the really big panels,
start camping now.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a whole thing. So it's not for me. But Casher says, I like the idea of the, Ravensdale Geeks Out thing. Maybe set up a poll or something to engage viewers. Yeah, actually, it's a great idea. We could always put up a poll at the beginning and be like, what topic do you want to hear us talk about today? And, we basically would have 3 topics on the agenda. And then the first 2 we pick out ahead of time, or we just start talking. And the third one is something that you guys pick. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So,
I would definitely love some engagement too, like actually having a conversation with some people. So
yeah, definitely. Feel free to chat with us. That's why we're here. If we didn't want to chat with people, we would just be doing this without the cameras. Yeah. So feel free to chime in. But anyways, WonderCon, man, I'm preoccupied with it.
I am too.
But before we get too off track, let's get into the comic. So last time we met up and did a Ravensdale Writes Comics, we had just kind of gotten to the cusp of Procyon jumping into action and going out and doing stuff. So let's skip to that page. I want to say it was page like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So we kind of did all the, prerequisite. Hold on a second. Sorry. I'm going to scroll back up because I think I missed something here. What am I looking at? What did I miss? Oh, no. Okay. This just has empty spaces because we decided no dialogue was needed and I haven't deleted it. Never mind. Sorry. I thought I had skipped putting some stuff in there. So, page 7 shows the forest fire starting. Page 8 shows Colonel Rockwell, Arthur's mom, taking off to go do her search and rescue thing. So at the very end, it shows Procyon actually, leaping into action for the first time. So he's going to be in his suit and everything like that. So that brings us to page 9. So we're kind of starting fresh with this particular episode. We don't have anything written past this point. We have some vague ideas, but that's it.
Right.
So
we jumping into adversaries right away. We setting him up. How are we doing this?
I feel like it should be him kind of reacting to the fire itself right now.
Okay.
Like it should start off there, showing how he tries to, stretch his powers a little bit, do the most good he can, kind of without exerting himself too much, and trying to save some people. Okay. And then kind of once it gets to the point where he's exhausted and everything like that, I feel like there should be a thing where someone's like, oh, we just got a report that there's one more civilian like out there in the forest, and they're cut off by flames or whatever, and he flies out there to go save the person, and that's where that happens.
That. Nice.
So,
all right. That's a good angle. I like that.
So he's not really going to fight Maelstrom at all, but there do need to be a couple of pages where he interacts with her. So kind of just thinking about how we're going to lay it, or how we're going to plot things out. I don't know if he should run into her early, like as soon as he gets there. I don't know why she would be necessarily hanging around there at this point, because she's off doing whatever her true plan is. But maybe she comes back to get the other guy and bail. And so that's when she kind of like talks to him. So maybe there's only 1 page or 2 pages where we need that.
Yeah, we were talking before about her being evil but not a dick.
Right.
So maybe that's what she's doing, is actually making sure the little furry forest friends are getting out safely. Like she's kind of diverting.
She kind of already does that, though.
Okay.
Hold on a sec. Let me make sure I'm not crazy. Page 7.
Oh, we kind of already do. Okay.
Yeah, we make a note of that.
This is why I don't write, folks. This is why I don't write.
There's a lot in here, so. Because this is just a diversion from her doing whatever her true plan is. Not that we know what that is just yet, but, that's kind of the fun of writing it as we go.
Right.
So I don't think he should run into Maelstrom yet. I feel like he should show up. He should be dealing with the fire. that happens. He runs into our mystery villain, and then from there, after he kind of fights him, escapes from the fire, that's when Maelstrom shows up, grabs her dude, her lackey, and, they have a little exchange, Procyon and Maelstrom, and then she takes off and kind of leaves him there.
All right.
Okay. All right, so... Well, let's just get into the action summary for page 9 for now. Actually, for the next few pages, probably for this episode, I'm just going to be writing out action summaries for, pages probably 9 through 12, just kind of getting the general sense and pacing of exactly what I want to have happen on each page. So we won't get into dialogue or exact panel descriptions or layouts just yet. It's just going to be, high-level stuff right now. So for page 9, I want the action summary to be Procyon shows up at the fire and starts helping. He doesn't freeze up. He hesitates for a panel or two in order to get a sense of the scope of the fire and the the people that need the most help. So he kind of shows up. This is his first time doing anything like this. So he kind of hesitates, kind of tries to assess and prioritize, and then he, actually gets to helping people. And I feel like this first page should be him almost kind of being overwhelmed by everything.
Right.
And then the next page kind of snaps into focus. There are people right there in front of me that need help. I'm just going to help them. He kind of, and maybe he even kind of says, because, he's doing his thing where he's narrating this to the team that he's meeting for the first time. Maybe he even says something to the effect of, you can't always focus on saving everybody. Sometimes you just have to start by saving somebody. And then everything else just kind of falls into place from there.
Okay.
So...
Maybe also he has a... I don't know if we'd really be able to fit it, but maybe he has a moment where he's like, "What will my mom do right now?" Because remember, she is kind of what this is kind of what she does. So
I like that. Maybe she told him that.
Okay. Yeah.
He always maybe he asked after a particularly bad accident, that she went on a mountain road. She shows up and there's this school bus full of kids that's been hurt. And he's like, "Well, how did you know who to help first? Or how did you save everybody?" And she kind of goes into that little lesson. So
yeah, I like that.
Okay. All right. So page 9, Procyon shows up with the fire, starts helping, hesitates for a couple of panels, trying to get a sense of the scope of the fire, the people who need the most help, overwhelmed, uncertain, and a little bit scared. And we'll go into that more with the panel descriptions. But I feel like in comic books, a lot of times it's about the action and stuff like that. But Samson and I have mentioned this in previous episodes. We like the character reactions to stuff. I love really distinctive facial expressions in my comics.
Yeah.
And I think taking a page out of, the comic book action to focus on his emotional state when he's looking at this, I think just shows the value because, it costs money to print these things. So every page is kind of gold. So I feel like dedicating an entire page to that is important to kind of show the range of emotions that people go through.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, this is something we've talked about before too. I don't know if we did on here, but for me, in terms of comics, my opinion is the story's what's most important. It's got to have, action's great, and we're definitely going to have some action. People are going to get beat up, but, it's got to be about story. There's got to be heart. There's got to be substance. So. Yeah,
there's got to be some emotional connection there, some sort of reason to care, basically. And it's easy to be like, oh, well, you should care about these people because, they're in the middle of this big forest fire. But we want to care about Procyon, too. So that's kind of the goal we've got. That's the goal we're working towards with this. I really need to find that. There's a comic that I wrote a review for a couple of years back now. It was an Aliens. It was based on the Aliens franchise. and it was this.
Scared.
Mm-hmm.
I said I'm scared. Keep going.
It was meant to be a kind of a horror comic, and it had some of the best facial expressions.
Really?
Like, the overall art style is actually not something that usually would be my thing,
Right.
but it fit the theme of Alien and Aliens really well. It
Nice.
had that really kind of post-industrial sci-fi like aspect to it, a little bit of grittiness,
Right.
but not over the top.
Right.
It was fantastic. I need to find it again because it was really good.
Yeah, that sounds good, actually. Yeah.
Actually, maybe that's something we could do in our Geek Out sessions. Maybe we could do like a little review thing where we're like, hey, there's this comic that I read that is not, and it could be Marvel, DC, whatever, but
Right.
it could even be some of the other stuff that's like, hey, there's this really great comic I read. This is what I liked about it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Could talk for hours about this stuff.
Seriously. All right, so this is not page 8. This is actually page 10. I just copy-pasted, so I have to change that as I go. Page 10, the action summary is going to be relates a story/message that his mother gave him about her time in search and rescue. Essentially, you can't go in trying to save everyone. You have to start by saving just one person and let the rest of the pieces fall into place. Something along those lines. He snaps out of his,
His awe.
moment of hesitation and races to save a family cowering near an RV. So he starts off just by saving this one family, right? And I even think that he should be like, everybody get into the RV, and then he should lift the RV and fly it out.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the most utilitarian, direct route of him getting everybody out of there. Because he can't carry 6 people in his arms. It's just not, it doesn't really work. He's strong enough to, but, the logistics of it, yeah. So instead he just piles everybody into the RV, picks the RV up, and, he urges everyone into the RV. Urges is not the right word. He ushers, that's the word I'm looking for. Ushers everyone into the RV, picks it up, and flies it to safety. And I think that's enough to fill one page. He kind of like snaps out of everything. He dives into action, saves these people. That's the end of that page. Now we can move on to page 11. All right. So with page 11, we want to jump to him doing something else to save other people. Maybe this time around he is saving, a group of firefighters who have kind of gotten cut off by the fire.
Okay.
So Casher says, "Good idea. I like talking about comic books. I'm always on the lookout for a new series to try." Yeah, me too. And it's weird. I have these lulls where I'm like, yeah, whatever, comics. I'm not really feeling it right now. And then I'll just get the urge where I need to go out and I need to buy something. And looking at all the Marvel and DC titles, there's some cool stuff out there, but they just don't grab me the way they used to.
For me, because I don't buy on the regular, whenever I do have money for a comic, I'll get into the store and I'm so overwhelmed that I end up not leaving with anything. Because I'm just like, I don't know what to get. So
I think for me, it's better to buy trade paperbacks rather than individual issues these days.
Yeah.
Just because the only real reason most people buy individual issues is for the collectible aspect,
Right.
Or if they just want to get like the monthly comic, right? Yeah. And for me, I'm not going to remember to go back and buy the next issue of a monthly comic. and even if I did remember it, I'd probably put it off because it's not as high on my priority list.
Right.
So I prefer to wait until something comes out in trade paperback. I can just buy the whole thing. I can read the whole storyline.
Yeah, that's the benefit for me. Like
Yeah.
the monthly stuff, come on, we're talking comic.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's too much for me. Especially if like, stuff happens, issues get pushed back or whatever, teams change, and it's just like
Yeah.
just give me my story. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think that the one of the big things that's kind of burned me on monthly comics was the Civil War event, the first one, not the most recent one with Captain Marvel and Iron Man. The first one, Captain America, Iron Man. I was reading a fair number of Marvel comics up until that point, and I liked pretty much everything I was reading. So the Civil War event kicks off, and I was like, all right, cool. There's this miniseries. That's the Civil War miniseries. I can follow that. And then all of a sudden, there were 30 extra books. There was this one-shot for the Mandarin, and a one-shot for Iron Man, and a short mini-series for the Fantastic Four. And, you had to just follow so much crap that, waiting from one month to the next, you couldn't just grab those issues because so much happened in the offshoots that you would get the next issue and be like, oh, yeah, when so-and-so died. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
when did that happen? So,
editor's note. I'm like, what?
Casher says, I'll start at one end before I'm done with the first row. I'm overwhelmed. Yeah, there's a lot of comics out there.
Yeah.
And then Casher says, I'm the same way with manga. I'll be fine not reading it for months, and then I have this urge to devour title after title and spend hours reading tons of it. Yeah, manga is definitely, it's basically comics. So it's pretty much the same thing. I think everybody gets bitten by the bug from time to time, and you kind of get, sort of a...
Got to work it out of your system.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of get a little bit obsessed for a short period of time, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is too much, and, you move away from it. But I do the same thing with video games and stuff like that. So, I go through cycles where I'm really into something, and then I need to put it away for a while.
Yeah. I think it's pretty typical for most people.
Yeah. All right. So, let's get into page 11. So the action summary for this one, we're going to focus on saving... Do we want to go firefighters? Is that too cliched? I don't want him to save his mom. I don't want it to be one of those things where, her helicopter gets damaged and he has to go save her.
I would actually heard just kind of maybe she's on a different front.
Yeah, she's on a different side of the forest. Yeah. And so, you've got the search and rescue crews, the fire crews are out doing that, but he's kind of helping the people that are cut off and are, furthest from help.
What about some mountain climbers?
That's a good one, mountain climbers. Because then you have to deal with, not necessarily the flames so much as, the smoke and everything like that, the bad air quality. Heat rises, so that can be a problem. They can be suffering from heat stroke, smoke inhalation. I like that. That is a good call. All right, so... mountain climbers have gotten stuck descending the mountain. They can't see through the smoke and they're having trouble breathing. I kind of want to do something here, but I kind of think it might be a little bit too ripping off of Superman. Him showing up and blowing the wind away with a big gust of, exhalation of breath. Is that too much?
What if we have him just it works.
It does. You could have him fly in a circle really fast, but that's kind of I don't really see him.
If he's flying that fast, he's making a tornado.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess the breath thing, or maybe just maybe I don't know, that wouldn't work either. I was gonna say Hulk, where he does the little clap thing to kind of clear it out, but
that could cause an avalanche and all kinds of stuff. So
pop some people's eardrums.
Yeah. Although, one of the ways you put out a fire is to smother it. You don't necessarily have to extinguish it.
Right.
So maybe, the reason that there's all this smoke is because, the fire has extended to the trees kind of below where these guys are, and so he shows up and he does the clap to kind of clear the smoke out and give them a minute to catch their breath, and then he collects them up just as the avalanche comes down, and it kind of like extinguishes the fire that way.
Ah, I like it.
I mean, is that
2 birds, 1 clap?
It's not necessarily saving the forest because he's kind of crushing it, but he's still new to his powers, so it kind of shows him going for the most direct solution possible and technically saving the day,
Right.
but you know.
Yeah, maybe even have one of them make a comment like, "Oh, we weren't done climbing that yet," or something like so.
Right. Oh man, now we'll never get to say we climbed to the summit or something.
Yeah.
All right, I like that. Okay. The trees immediately below the climbers are engulfed in flames. Procyon creating a whoops, there's an E at the end of a bunch. Boom. Should that all take place in one page? Like him causing the avalanche, getting them out, showing the avalanche falling? I think it should.
Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of a tight page, but I think that kind of conveys a little bit of like hectic, chaotic, you know, just having to act without necessarily thinking.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So. I don't think it should be a group of hikers. Maybe it's just a pair of mountain climbers.
Yeah.
I think
2
it's
guys.
easier that way. Yeah.
And a girl, whatever, couple.
Yep. Okay. More than comments about never getting to say they reached the summit. All right. All right. So that's pretty good. That's, you know, again, kind of showing his, not naivety, but his lack of experience with using his powers and saving the day. So let's go ahead and toss in some more page breaks in here. And then we will do another action summary for a couple more pages. So I got to ask, for those of you who are tuned in, are any of you going to be at WonderCon this weekend in Anaheim, California? If so, let us know, because we will be there showing off our board game Villains and Henchmen that our comics are going to be based on. So we'd love to see you out there. We're also doing a giveaway for a piece of art that Samson showed off in the last episode of, I think it was Captain Marvel, Procyon, and our Ravi little Raven mascot buddy here.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to be there, come check us out. Casher is going to be there. Awesome. Hopefully other people will be as well.
Come say hi.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so page 12. So page 12, the action summary is going to be... Is this kind of where he... I kind of feel like this is where he should fly down, check in with like a fire crew and be like, hey, do you guys need help anywhere? And they're like, you know, who the heck are you? We can't send you back in there or whatever. And then they reveal, oh, there's somebody in there. And that's when he flies back.
All right.
Okay. A fire crew. Oh, I think it should be his mom, Colonel Rockwell, that actually sends the report because she's flying up above. So she says, hey, we're airlifting out this latest victim. We just saw a.
Sorry.
I think my wife just shattered her high score on the Arabian Nights pinball table. She's very, very excited about this. So, yeah, I think she should be the one that kind of says, "Oh, I saw a figure in the flames," kind of gives a rough location, and that's when he flies off.
All right.
So she kind of is the one that spots him. All right, so that's 12. Might as well get into 13. I don't think we have any. You may have noticed, if you've been watching us for any length of time on this episode or previous episodes, we don't necessarily have a really strict, rigid structure that we go by. So, some episodes we spend a lot of time writing dialogue, other times it's just action summaries. It kind of depends on, where we're at and what we need to focus on next, or just what we feel like doing. So, speaking of, what are you doing tonight? What are you working on?
I'm drawing a picture of our hero here in a semi-flight pose. I'm not really sure what I'm doing with his legs here. I'm trying to figure that out right now.
Looks like he might be coming in for a landing and throwing a punch at the same time.
I feel like I'm really starting to refine his look, though, and I'm liking where it's going.
Yeah, me too. And this is clearly young Procyon because he doesn't have the stash.
Right.
Okay. So I like him. I think he looks good.
Yeah, I think strictly for this comic, well, not strictly for the comic, because towards the end it won't be, but for the most part, it's going to be young Procyon.
That makes sense.
In the comic, so.
I like it. Actually, would you mind moving it down and to the right just a tiny bit? Perfect. Right there. All right. You can see his symbol. I like it. It's looking good. Sweet. All right. So, one of the other things, kind of like we talked about at the beginning, doing the Ravensdale Geek Out sessions, once a month, is to kind of give Samson the opportunity to catch up with the page layouts so that he isn't, we're not constantly writing 4 pages in an episode, but he's only able to, do the layout for one of them or whatever.
Right.
So it's kind of, slow things down just a little bit and give him the opportunity to keep up. Because the art takes a lot longer than the writing, let's be honest. A lot more skill, too.
A lot more struggling.
All right, so page 13. Procyon. Zooms in for a landing near the. Should this person be pretending to be knocked out? Should they just be standing there? What's the?
Would it be beneficial if this person is kind of near the base of that avalanche?
Oh, maybe. Yes. Yes. Yes, I see where you're going with this. Landing near the base of the avalanche caused. The figure is shrouded in smoke and dust. Is he gonna attack Procyon immediately? Do they talk at all?
Yeah, I think it'd be great if he just got nailed.
Yeah, I agree. As soon as Procyon touches down, the figure attacks. All right, I think that's where we want to end that one.
Okay.
I don't think we want to go on too much further for that because it has good pacing. Because at this point, that's page 13. If we're looking at page 22 or 24 pages, the fight between them should go, a couple of pages at least.
Yeah.
I could even theoretically see.
maybe 3 pages.
Maybe 3 pages. That puts us at page 16.
Yeah.
So then we have a couple pages where he's talking to Maelstrom. That puts us at page 18 or 19. If we stick to 3 pages, then we can kind of show him there talking to the other heroes over those last 3 pages. And then we can kind of even give like a little introduction to all those characters.
Yeah.
So that when we go into we're writing the origin issue for those characters, everybody kind of knows where it's leading back to.
Yeah. I like it.
I think that's good. I think that's really good. All right. Cool. So up to page 13, at least for the action summaries. So now we're gonna go backwards a little bit, and we are gonna jump into actually doing some of the panel descriptions for the pages that we've got written out. Starting with page 9. So, panel 1, Procyon. So he shows up, he kind of hesitates.
Kind of just looking around, like, just overwhelmed.
Yeah, like
Maybe
he's kind of
kinda
hovering, like, off, like, kind of upwind.
Yeah.
Is it upwind or downwind? Downwind is bad, upwind is good, yeah. So he's kind of, like, hovering upwind. You can see the smoke drifting off in a different direction. And he's kind of just looking at everything for the first panel, yeah. He hovers in midair. Remaining upwind of the fire of the pillar of smoke. All right, so that first one is probably going to be a fairly wide angle panel, kind of looking at everything that's going on.
Yeah, you really want to show the scope of the devastation of the fire, which, I'm sure too many people are familiar with.
Yeah, we don't want to make it seem like we're making light of the situation, because these kinds of fires are serious. People die in them all the time. We're from California, so we experience these probably a couple of times a year at this point.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's extremely unfortunate. So, all right, so he's hovering there. He's kind of looking at everything that's going on. Panel 2 should be a close-up of Procyon's face. His forehead is covered in sweat. The flames are reflecting in his eyes. Doesn't know what to do or where to start. So that's the second panel. Do we need a third panel on this one, or is 2 panel or acceptable for that?
Did we cover our full scope of what we wanted on the page?
Yeah, so he shows up the fire. He hesitates for a panel or 2 to get a sense of the scope. People need the most help. He's overwhelmed, uncertain, a little bit scared. So maybe we should have a couple panels of him, like, seeing the family with the RV, and then seeing the mountain climbers, and also seeing, like, the fire crew. Yeah. And, like, not really. So, like, basically, is that 3 more panels?
Yeah. Okay. Those could be, like, inset panels, I think, over, like, the bigger...
Yeah, actually, so I kind of like that. So maybe that last panel is... So maybe the one I just did is actually the last panel, and the inset panels are kind of, like, coming out of... You know, you kind of, like...
Kind of blown up out of the bigger picture.
Yeah, blown up out of the bigger picture, like you're using a magnifying glass on a specific part.
Yeah.
I think that... Okay. All right, I like that. So this is actually technically panel 5. Panel 2. 3. Panel 4. Alright, so panel 2 is going to be an inset panel. Actually, it's not really an inset panel, is it? It's more like a
zoom panel?
magnification panel, zoom panel. Let's call it a zoom panel. I like that. We're coining our own terms here, folks. It's undiscovered territory.
Making it up as we go.
Yep. So, zoom panel. RV sits in the middle of a clearing, surrounded by a ring of fire. A family of 6. Family of 6 is cowering from the flames. Alright, so that's zoom panel number 1. Hi, Ollie. Come here. Come on. So this is my cat, Ollie. He is very insistent that I pay some attention to him all of a sudden. Hi, buddy. And as we might have mentioned in one of our previous episodes, at least, anytime I'm doing a stream, we just have to accept the fact that sometimes Ollie is going to join us. Last time, actually, I think it was Ayla.
Yeah.
Although she didn't show up on screen, she just meowed at me. So, but the internet loves cats, so I'm sure it'll be fine. You might see him on Samson's camera now. Yep, just barely seeing the top of his back. And his tail. Hi, I know. I know, we're talking to people who aren't here. Come here. Ah, don't knock my water bottle over. Come here. Hi. Hi. Yeah, hi. Come here. Come down here. Yeah, you can come sit with me. Hi. I love my cats. I don't care what anybody says about it. Hi. Come here. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah. Oh, good boy. All right. I gotta go back to saving civilians. Come on, buddy. Cats, adorable. Yes, they are. They're so cute. They're so fluffy. Sometimes after a long, tough day, having a cat at home to pet is just the best thing. Some men come home and drink a bottle of whiskey. I come home and pet my cats. I'm okay with this. Whiskey's terrible anyways. Hi.
I don't know.
No, you like whiskey?
Yeah, on occasion. I'm more of a beer guy, but
I'm
obviously.
I'm not much of a drinker. I like amaretto. It's pretty much the only thing that I can drink a full glass of. And even then, I'm kind of like, eh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really,
Hi.
special occasions, maybe once, twice a year, if that. But.
Right. Okay. I gotta get back to it, buddy. I love you very much. Come on. Come on. Come on. Okay, you settle down right there. That's fine, too. As long as you're going to let me continue typing. All right. Yeah, hi. Hi. He's literally sitting on the edge of my keyboard. Hi, buddy. Yeah, you're okay. All right, so the next Zoom panel, luckily this is already kind of written because we have the next few panel action summaries ready to go. The true supervillain, ladies and gentlemen. Cats. Yeah, hi, I love you too. Yes. But I'll be honest, guys, if you could see the curly paws that he's giving, because I'm petting him right now, you would not be able to blame me. Yeah, good boy. Good boy. Come on, I love you. I gotta move you. Come on. Oh, you make me feel like such a jerk. All right, there we go. Crisis averted. temporarily at the very least. And you can tell what he thinks of that whole situation. All right, so the next panel is a Zoom panel, and we are going to do two mountain climbers are clinging precariously to the to a cliff face. Is cliff face one word, 2 words? I think it's 2 words, because that would be a lot of F's. Be a lot of F's in a row if it was 1 word. So, clinging precariously to a cliff face.
So are we setting this in rolled?
Pillows around them.
Like, could this, like, technically be a location that, like, I'm not saying we need to do that, I was just kind of curious, like, what your thoughts are on.
That's a great question. And I think we kind of chatted about this a little bit in a previous episode where we were trying to figure out, are we coming up with our own cities? Are we, going to go ahead and just use existing cities and existing real-world locations? On the one hand, I feel a little weird, like, doing real cities and being like, oh, it got exploded by, Dr. Terrible Guy.
Right.
On the other hand, coming up with a bunch of fake cities is kind of exhausting, and I think it severs that connection that people have with the places where all of our stories are taking place.
Right.
So we can go either way with it. I don't know. What's your opinion?
I'm a fan of it for sure. Having it set in the road world. I think actually this is probably, and I'm not trying to start anything internet, but this is, I think, the difference between Marvel and DC is the real world connection.
Right.
It feels more grounded to me, more in reality, which isn't always a good thing. I'm not trying to start fights, but yeah, I do like that better.
I think I do too, because when you get right down to it, like, Gotham and Metropolis are both based on New York.
Yeah.
They're the different aspects of New York, where you've got, Metropolis is the high rises, the Central Park, Manhattan and all that stuff. The city that never sleeps type of thing. Whereas Gotham is more the outlying areas, the crime-ridden areas. It's the part of the city where the lights don't really reach into these parts of the city at night. And so, I get why they're there and what they represent,
right.
But it just makes it a little bit tougher to really kind of connect with. Yeah. In the comics, if Metropolis gets destroyed, you're like, wow, that's terrible, because Metropolis, there's a bunch of people there, yada yada. It's a little bit different than being like, so in our universe, New York City was destroyed.
Right.
Like, where there was New York City, now there's just glass.
Right.
Like, that is the kind of thing that makes people go, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like, how would that affect the real world?
Right.
So, I think I'm on the same page as
okay.
Samson. All right, so let's get this last Zoom panel in for page, what is this, 9? Yeah, page 9. And then we'll at least have done 1 full page of panel descriptions and then 3 additional pages of action summary. So I think that'll actually work out really well. But yeah, so we've got, third Zoom panel is... So we've got some fire engines are, what's the word I'm looking for? Are stationed near one edge of the forest. Yeah, stationed near one edge of the forest. Dozens of firefighters are swarming the area. All right. So the Zoom panels don't have to have a heck of a lot of description. They're just to show, like, these are some of the different things that are going on. that Procyon can see, kind of like all contributes to him trying to figure out like where should I be focused. You know what? Carrying casualties. All right. So yeah, I think that does a pretty good job of setting up that initial hesitation that he's got. Then in the next page, we're going to get into him kind of snapping out of it, relating a story that his mother, Colonel Rockwell, search and rescue pilot, kind of tells him to kind of help him get out of that and get to the business of saving people. And I think that's a pretty good stopping point. I mean, we're at 56 minutes. We will probably spend the last couple minutes just chatting, but I think that's good progress. We're pacing stuff out. So let's take a closer look at what you got going on there. All right, got a little bit more of the, not shading necessarily, but the...
Yeah, just trying to fill out the form, make it look more 3D, more real.
Looks good. I like that a lot. I like the way his kind of bracer gauntlets, I don't think we've officially decided what they are yet. I kind of like the way those are coming out.
Yeah, I really like the shape of them. Before I had them kind of just two metal bands, and it's kind of boring.
Right.
So I like this. I like the way it's turning out.
Yeah, it looks good. And I forget, does he have gloves attached to him, or is he barehanded?
Barehanded.
Barehanded, okay. All right, cool. I like it. Well, let's talk a little bit about WonderCon.
Yeah.
Like I said, we will be there. We will be showing off Villains and Henchmen. We'll be in the game area, which is usually at the back of, I want to say, Hall C. And it's right next to like a couple of the food kiosks at the back of the hall. And it's a huge area. You really can't miss it. It's got a bunch of board game signs and posters and whatnot up. So come find us there. Look for our Villains and Henchmen like logo / banner of the manipulator. Guy with a tall purple hat, purple suit, swirly glowing eyes. Mm-hmm. You can't miss him.
Yeah.
So come check that out. We'll be showing off probably all 4 of the different settings that we've got so far. We were going to have some expansion stuff, some stretch goal stuff in there as well to playtest, but sadly there was a bit of a snag with the printing and shipping, so we won't get them in time. But we will be showing that stuff off at Kingdom Con instead, which is in mid-April. So if you're into conventions and gaming stuff, Kingdom Con is a really good one in San Diego to check out. It's their 10th year. It's their last Kingdom Con. I don't know what happened. I don't know why this decision was made, but they're not doing any more after this, which stinks because it's such a good convention.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's a really good gaming convention. And, like, it's the kind of thing that makes me so bummed out. I kind of want to message the guy who runs it.
Just to see what
he and I are friends on Facebook. He's friends with tons of people on Facebook. But he and I are friends on Facebook. And I'd just be like, hey, what's going on? But, I mean, I don't know the guy that well, so he's probably not going to tell me if something happened.
Hopefully it's not some shenanigans like the other local one here.
Yeah, NerdCon. Oh, man. NerdCon was a much smaller version of, like, WonderCon and stuff like that. It was really more of just a generic pop culture con.
Yeah.
It was really good. It was in our backyard here in Escondido. And apparently they took a bunch of money, or someone on the staff took a bunch of money and didn't pay the guests that they had hired for the last event. And so they ended up having to kind of shutter the whole thing, and the convention died. And that was only its second. It was only its second event.
Yeah.
The first event was a little shaky. You know, it wasn't that well attended. It was attended well enough. But the second year, man, like, attendance just skyrocketed.
It was nice.
It was packed in there.
One of the most clever karaoke things I've ever seen was karaoke with Loki. They had that there. It was great.
Nice. That's funny. So yeah, we're really bummed that that one's not around anymore. And we're going to be really bummed when Kingdom Con is officially done as well. But, I mean, hopefully they're just all moving on to bigger and better things. You know, sometimes events like that take up enough of your time that you can't really sustain them. So hopefully that's all it is.
Well, too, I mean, I've actually kind of been wondering, if this was ever going to happen, because there's literally a con every weekend now. It's like kind of crazy.
Yeah, there are a lot of them. A lot of them are really tiny conventions.
Right.
Which, you know, we try to go out to some of the smaller conventions as well, but a lot of times they're just... I'm not going to say they were a waste of our time, because they're really not. All the small conventions that have been kind enough to offer us, you know, table space or booth space to come out and show off the game, you know, we truly appreciate the hospitality. But they're just... Most of them aren't really focused on gaming, and so going out there with a game doesn't generate a lot of interest from the convention goers that they do have, and so it just ends up being relatively low value for us. Although one of the small conventions we went to, we got to meet Janisha Adams-Ginyard. Is that her name? Yes, my wife is giving me the thumbs up for yes. And Janisha was one of the stunt doubles for, I think it was Okoye in Black Panther. And she actually stunt doubles for Lupita Nyong'o in Us as well.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so she's kind of like privy to some of that Marvel stuff and whatnot, and she's a really, really cool lady. Just great personality, great positive vibes.
Super happy all the time.
All the time. Just a great smile. So if you are at a convention and you see Janisha Adams-Ginyard on the the special guest list, definitely go say hi to her, get her signature, and show some support, because she's an awesome lady. But anyways, that's totally off topic. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to say as kind of closing.
Come see us at WonderCon, get free stuff, play games, say hi.
Yes, that's right. The giveaway. So we are doing our standard giveaway here. The rules for which I'm going to just pop up on screen really quick, so everybody knows what they are, and I can't get the thing to do the thing, and there we go. So follow us here on Twitch or on YouTube, comment, chat, things like that will get you entries into this raffle contest that we've got going on. Once we hit 50 followers, we're going to do the first one. You'll get a piece of art. The winner will get a piece of art, a pin, and some stickers. The follow-up or runner-up winner will get stickers and a pin. And then at WonderCon itself, we're doing a couple of giveaways for pieces of art at the end of every day, as well as we'll have stickers and pins to give out. So come check us out. You'll get some cool stuff, some swag, and...
yeah, I'll probably... at every con we've ever been at, I always do sketches too.
Yeah.
Not guaranteeing you're going to get one, but stop by maybe.
Yeah. You don't know until you show up and chat with us.
Yeah.
So come see us. You can get some cool artwork from Samson, and you get to play a cool game. So there you go. Yeah. All right. Thanks very much for tuning in, everybody. See you Wednesday. I might be doing more D&D behind the screens, or last week I didn't do that. I did some Apex Legends. This next time I might be streaming with my wife, playing some Rogue Legacy, which is going to be a lot of fun, because my wife...
Oh, yeah.
She is...
5+ now?
Oh, yeah. So my wife is actually on, like, New Game +5 or something like that on Rogue Legacy. But really the entertaining thing when she's playing is just the absolute nonsense that comes out of her mouth when she's, like, trying not to die. So come watch that, because that is absolutely hilarious.
Yes, it is great.
Anyways, see y'all next time. I was going to say next week, but we'll see you Wednesday. And then hopefully we will see you at WonderCon.
Yeah. See you guys.
Have a good night.